You're watching The Breakfast Club.
Morning, everybody. It's DJ NV, Angela Yee, Charlamagne the God. We are The Breakfast Club. Now we have some special guests in the building this morning.
Yes, indeed.
We have Trayvon Martin's parents in the building, Sabrina Fulton and Tracy Martin. Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning.
How are y'all this morning, man?
We're good.
Feeling good.
Busy.
It seems like you two have made the most out of a tragic situation, man. How has this process been?
This whole process is, it's been tedious. It's been tiresome. It's been hard because you're constantly reliving the tragic loss of your child, and so a lot of people think that everything that we're going through with writing the book and just being spokesmen for the voiceless, they think it's an easy road. But every day you wake up with that burden that your child is not here, and that he's not here because of a senseless act, a cowardless act of violence. And so it's a tough road, but we know that this is something that we have to do, not only to uphold his legacy, but to ensure that other families get due just.
And it has to be... for those who don't know, and I hate to say this because everybody should know this story, can you briefly explain what happened to Trayvon Martin as he was walking the streets?
His parents are here, but
he got murdered by a sick bastard. That's
right.
What
George
happened.
Zimmerman, who we keep on seeing in the news doing other things that are absolutely disgusting, that should make everybody feel like, I can't believe that he wasn't convicted of this crime. But we've all heard the 911 audio calls. We've heard all of that, and I think a lot of us were not just enraged, but also, how could he not have been convicted based on the evidence?
Because of this country. This country is sick. This country needs to mend itself together with everything that's going on. Clearly, he was unarmed at 17, and the person that shot and killed him was 28 with a loaded gun.
Stalking him because they told him, he got out of his car and started following him.
Cops
started
said, "Leave him
following
alone."
Trayvon Martin,
Definitely.
even though on the
Don't
phone
pursue.
on 911 they said, don't pursue him.
Don't pursue.
Don't follow him, and he was just following him and harassing your son.
Correct.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and the part that really get me with the judicial system is the fact that you taking a guy's word who's saying that he was fearing for his life, but I just can't get over the fact that you fearing for your life, but you have a loaded 9mm and you get out your car.
And you're
If you fearing for your life, you're going to stay in your car and
you get the hell out of Dodge.
Exactly.
Is it difficult watching George Zimmerman out here profiting off your son's murder, like doing the autograph signings, and I think it was like a celebrity boxing match that he was
auctioning
up for.
off.
And I was real disappointed with when I found out that DMX wanted to do the celebrity box off with him. You know what I'm saying? Because how can you consider yourself a celebrity and you just took a life of a 17-year-old?
I think DMX just wanted to beat the shit out of him.
Whip his ass.
Yeah,
I mean, but
thing.
I just think, man, it was just,
Don't bring attention to it.
yeah, don't bring attention to him.
Now, Tracy, as a man, our only job is to protect and provide. As a father, I would never want to go through what you went through. How do you wake up every morning not wanting to kill George Zimmerman?
I don't, man. I mean, for me to sit here and say that I don't have hatred in my heart, for me to sit here and say that I don't have that feeling of want to do something, I would be less than a father. And I wake up with it, man. I know that we have other kids to live for. My son's gone, and there's really nothing I can do to bring him back. But I got other kids to live for, man. We got Javaris, I got other kids that I have to be there for, and so I just thought that the best thing that I could do was just to go out and fight for justice and continue to uphold Trayvon's name.
Now, people talk about forgiveness all the time, and that God would want you to forgive. And up here we talk about it. I think Charlamagne and I said that certain things I just can't forgive. My heart won't let me forgive.
Not
and
this
Angela
situation.
says, you should forgive.
Well, forgiveness is more for yourself, to take that burden off of the heavy weight that's on you.
Fine.
It's not to say, oh, this person is a good person
Right.
or anything like that. It's more for you to be able to move on with your life.
Could y'all ever see yourself forgiving him at all?
Yeah, I want both of y'all to answer that.
Okay. I know that we supposed to get to that point at some point. We supposed to get there, but that comes through healing. That comes through just forgiving the person for what they've done, and we're not there yet. Definitely not there yet.
Man, I know I'm nowhere near that threshold, man. I just, because it was just so much taken away from me. It was just, this is something that we had invested 17 years in, and all of a sudden it's gone. And so just to be at that point where I say, yeah, I can forgive you, no, I can't.
What do you tell your other kids now when they move around in the streets or when they're walking around or when they're going out?
Man, it's like Javaris, man. We real protective of him. It's like every time he leave the room, we watching to see when he coming back through the door. With my other kids, man, it's the same thing. It's just you try to be more protective of them.
Right.
And we know that we did everything we can to protect our children, but at the same time, we know we can't be there every step of their lives.
Right.
And you speak about reliving. Oh, go ahead.
No, I was just saying sometimes it's not about what our kids do because we can give them all the knowledge that we can, and somebody else could still perceive them as being who they want them to be and still do some harm to them.
You speak about reliving the process, through y'all, but what about when you see it happen to others? Because it seemed like it just got progressively worse since the George Zimmerman case.
We definitely deal with other families, Sandra Blake's family, Eric Garner's family, Jordan Davis' family, Oscar Grant family. We're connected with those families, and we just try to lift each other up so that we can start healing, and we can start healing other people.
Yeah, Erica just got arrested. She got arrested in front of Trump Towers protesting. I'm sitting there thinking, why you arrest this woman for protesting?
No, Gwen.
The
mom.
Yeah, I'm
Gwen
sorry.
Carr,
The mom,
yes. Yes, she did.
Wow.
Now, we've seen you also campaigning for Hillary Clinton. It must be disappointing now to see our new president as Donald Trump and his whole take on police and how we need to be more cooperative with the police and not protest against that. What's your take on having Donald Trump as president? And I know you have to feel like you have a lot of work to do now.
Absolutely, and it can't stop. It can't stop. It was a disappointment, to say the least, that Hillary Clinton didn't win. It felt like all of us lost. It really did. And the moms were there election night. We were here in New York, and
Mothers
it was just an
movement.
upset. It was just an upset, and we had a hard time dealing with it. But we know, we got to regroup and get it together because we got a lot of work to do.
Now, what made you stand by Hillary in the first place? Because, people always say that black people were so just blind loyal to the Democrats. What made you stand next to Hillary?
Well, Hillary was the only presidential candidate that reached out to the families. She reached out to the mothers. Nobody else said, let's sit down, let's talk, tell me how I can help you guys. And that's what she did. And so we always say that we stood with her because she first stood with us. And so sometimes people don't want to hear about black on black crime and racial profiling and stuff like that because it's too uncomfortable. Right. She stepped out and she said, listen, I'm going to take on these uncomfortable subjects, and then other presidential candidates wanted to chime in. But she was the first one that said, let me see what's going on with black on black crime. Let me see what's going on with racial profiling and unjust. Why do these young black and brown boys keep getting shot and nobody's being held accountable?
Isn't it interesting how they feel uncomfortable when we talk about it? But imagine how we feel, just having to live it.
It's tough, man, and nobody want to talk about racism in this country, but we've been talking about it for years.
Yeah, y'all feel like Barack did enough?
I think he did what he could do.
Because you look at Donald Trump, and Donald Trump does what he wants.
Yeah.
He doesn't.
But he also has all the Republicans in office supporting him and on his side. Barack Obama was fighting against all of a Republican.
Yeah, but executive orders trump all that.
Do you think he should have stood up more for what's happening, or?
I think that being in his position, like Angie said, that he had his hands full. His hands was tied. And Trump's going to do what he's going to do. He's been doing it all his life. We look at the things that he was saying while he was campaigning, and he still got elected. So it was a situation where damn if you do, damn if you don't. And so I just think that President Obama did what he could do.
Has George Zimmerman or anybody from his family ever apologized or reached out or anything?
Yeah, he apologized at one of the bond hearings so he can get out of jail. So we didn't feel like it was sincere. We didn't accept it. We just looked and turned our heads and kept it moving.
And no family members, not his ex-wife?
No.
Nobody?
No.
Now, it's clear that fighting against the injustice that got Trayvon murdered has become your purpose. Well, what was your purpose before he got killed? Do y'all even remember y'all mindset before that happened?
Of course, I mean we just average family, average parents, man. I'm involved with youth sports. We always been around kids trying to enhance their lives, and I'm still involved with it. We work every day, get up and go to work every day. and we're just your average family, man, and so all of that was taken away from us. You know, we just kind of really opened our doors to our home to America, and when you do that, you know, people have their own perception, man. People, you know, we had people saying that we were welfare recipients and that we was on Section 8. Man, I've been on the grind all my life, you know, and I continue to work, man. It's just, you know, and the part of that just goes to show who we are, man. The work don't stop because of the work that I'm doing. You know, I want to show my kids that in order to get to some level of success, you gotta build, you gotta grind, you gotta keep going. And so we've always just been hardworking parents, man.
And you address that in this book that you guys have out now, Rest in Power. You talk a lot about, you know, I see you talk about when you got the phone call at work, Tracy called you a couple of times at work just to say what happened. And was it hard for you guys to relive these moments and write this book, or was it therapeutic in a way also?
It was absolutely hard to write it, and it's even harder to read it once it's all put together. But we decided we wanted to do something creative, and that's why we alternate chapters. I write a chapter, Tracy writes a chapter, and so we want to give you that we don't want it to just be a story. We want you to feel the tragedy. We want you to understand it from a parent's point of view, because a lot of people that are reading the book have not lost a child. But through our eyes, they can pretty much understand and be compassionate to what we've gone through, sitting through the court system, having to deal with the medical examiners, the police department, and everything that it encompasses. But we're just glad that the book is done and people can get something out of the book.
Now, how has this brought you two closer together?
We always been cool, man. Mm-hmm. I mean, even through divorce, man, we always we knew that it wasn't about me, it wasn't about Sabrina, it was about our children. And so, I can't say it enough, man. I don't think our kids knew that we were divorced until they got older. Mm-hmm. And so I knew what it felt like not to have my father in my home. And so me not being in the home, but I was still very actively engaged in their lives, man. I mean, day to day, you know, they just didn't see me sleeping with them after a while in the room in the house with them. But I've always been in my kids' life.
Now, what about a movie? I think this is something that needs to be on the big screen. One thing about this tragedy is it opened up a lot of eyes, you know, for a lot of young African-American kids. Even my son, I think when it happened, he was, 11 years old? And it made him so scared, you know what I mean? Because he looked and he was like, Trayvon is me. I could have been walking down the street with my hood on, some Skittles, and, you know, and somebody could have stopped me. You know,
Barack Obama said the same thing. He was Trayvon Martin.
It opened up a lot of kids' eyes. So is it movie next possibility?
The thing about it that what we're working on now is the Trayvon Martin talk, or the Trayvon talk. And that's something we working on now because we want people to have a conversation about what happened. Mm-hmm. And so they can teach their young people, they can teach the students, and they can teach even the older people, you know, what to look out for. It's not all the time about what you wear and what you're doing, but just what other people perceive you as. And so that is going to be something that we're working on now, which is the Trayvon talk. The movie, yes, we have been approached to, but we have an attorney, and he'll vet through whatever offer is being made, and then we'll decide what's the best offer and who's going to allow us to tell
the true story.
The true story, because it's about being real. Right. And if you read the book, you'll see it's about real. It's about our real life, the ugly, the bad, the good, everything. It's in there.
Yeah, there ain't no sugarcoating in that book, man.
Mm-hmm. How do y'all feel about social media activism? Because like when Trayvon died, a lot of social media campaigns with the hoodies up and things like that happened.
Social media played a big part in taking this story to the next level. Mm-hmm. Daniel Marie started the grassroots movement. That first hoodie march, it was through social media that actually brought everybody out to Union Square. So we attribute a lot of the information that was out there to social media. And also, there is some negative. It's going to be some good and some bad.
Yeah, right.
And so you just have to take the good with the bad. You know what? But we as parents, we know who our child was. We know who our son was. And so the bad that people tried to stereotype him, you know, it didn't bother us because we know that wasn't him.
Now,
and so,
I'm sorry. How'd that make you feel, Sabrina? Because they did try to paint Trayvon as a thug and post pictures of him like he was like in a gang and all kind of crazy stuff.
That's what people usually do. You blame the victim.
Mm-hmm.
You know, Trayvon didn't murder anybody. Trayvon didn't even have a weapon.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, during the trial, they brought a big slab of concrete in and said this was the weapon that he used. You know, he didn't have a weapon. He had a drink and he had candy.
Mm-hmm.
He was on the telephone, just like any other 17-year-old.
Mm-hmm.
And they want to blame him for his own death. So it's not something wrong with Trayvon or his parents. It's something wrong with the person that's shooting and killing our young black and brown boys, and they go home and sleep in their bed.
And I think everybody could see there is something wrong with him
With
because
Jim,
everything that's been happening with him.
Definitely.
That's where the problem lies.
Since then. Now, it's powerful to see you in Beyonce's Lemonade also. How did that hookup happen?
Through her PR person, they reached out to us. They wanted to, we had been doing something. She has been supporting the mothers and supporting the foundation of the mothers. And so it was just an offer that was made. And of course, we've never been in a video. So we thought there would be something interesting. So we ended up going, and it was a chance of a lifetime.
Has she been the most supportive celebrity?
I would say Jamie Foxx.
Really?
Wow.
Yeah, I would say Jamie.
Wow.
Why Jamie?
Because Jamie came to like several events that we've had, and he participates. You know,
Jamie really been there since day one, man.
Wow.
He really has, man.
He wore the T-shirt.
Yeah, he wore the T-shirt on the.
He
on
comes
the
to our
Music
Peace
Awards.
Walk because we celebrate Trayvon's birth and not his death. And Jamie brings his family. He comes to Miami and he walks in the Peace Walk and you know, stand with us for Trayvon's birthday, and that means a lot.
Well, the book is out right now.
And I read that you guys are talking about running for office also, or being involved in politics. How soon do you think that's going to happen?
Well, that was a question that was posed about a week and a half ago. And what I said was that it's something that we're going to research. It's something that we're going to look into. They already put us in the White House, and we haven't even apply for anything. We're not even a candidate on the ballot. So it's just something that we're taking a look at, that we're definitely interested in, because we feel like in order to make change, we have to be a part of that change.
Right.
And so that's where we are with that.
Okay. Well, we appreciate you for sharing your
you
story
for
with
joining
us.
Absolutely.
As difficult as it is.
Tell me the name of the book one more time, you.
Rest in Power.
Rest in Power.
The Enduring Life of Trayvon Martin.
Sabrina Fulton, Tracy Martin. We appreciate you guys for joining us, man. It's The Breakfast Club. Good morning.
The Breakfast Club. Every weekday morning. Tune in